Renu.
Are you with my son Esau? Yes.
Why God blessed Jacob after he deceived his father and stole Esau's birthright. Evidently, God is a just God. That is, he is perfectly righteous in his treatment of his creatures. Apostle Peter confirms in Acts 10 verse 34 that God shows no partiality. He commands against the mistreatment of others, and he perfectly executes vengeance against the oppressors. In the book of Hebrews, the Bible reports that God is just in meting out rewards. It says, God is not unjust, he will not forget your work. Hebrews 6 verse 10. Given these indisputable facts, what then happened to Esau? Why did God allow the deception of Jacob to steal Esau's birthright? Why would God bless Jacob rather than Esau when Jacob lied and deceived to get the last blessing of his father? This episode will address these questions. Before we continue, why don't you take a moment to support this work by subscribing to this channel if you are new here? By liking and sharing this video, you will be helping our goal of spreading and making the Word of God accessible to all. The story of Jacob and Esau is a complex narrative with theological, moral, and ethical implications. Jacob deceived his father, Isaac, to obtain the birthright and the blessing that traditionally belonged to the firstborn, Esau. As the Bible reports in the book of Genesis, Isaac, who was aging and blind, wanted to bless his older son, Esau. He asked Esau to hunt game, prepare a meal for him, and bring it to him so that he could give him the blessing before he died. However, Jacob and Esau's mother, Rebekah, overheard Isaac's intention and decided to intervene. She favored Jacob and wanted him to receive the blessing. She devised a plan to deceive Isaac. Rebekah told Jacob to fetch 2 young goats from the flock, which she would prepare as a dish that tasted like the game Esau hunted. She also instructed Jacob to wear Esau's clothes and put goat skins on his hands and neck to mimic Esau's hairy appearance. Jacob followed his mother's instructions and presented himself to Isaac as if he were Esau. Isaac was suspicious due to Jacob's voice sounding like Jacob's, but Jacob assured him that he was Esau. Isaac eventually believed Jacob and blessed him, thinking he was blessing Esau.
Nations shall bow before you, and your line shall extend all over the earth. Your brother shall serve in your house.
After Jacob had received the blessing, Esau returned from his hunt, prepared a meal for his father, and went to Isaac to receive his blessing. It was then that Isaac realized that it was Jacob he blessed, and not Esau. He told Esau so, and Esau was left deeply upset and angry. In spite of this elaborate deception, orchestrated by Jacob and his mother Rebekah against his twin brother, Esau, God honored the wishes of Isaac and blessed Jacob, making him the father of the 12 tribes of Israel. Esau, by that singular act, was cut off from the covenant God entered with Abraham. He was cut off from the lineage that would bear the Messiah. Many non-believers use this story to accuse God of contradictory ideals, but they clearly misunderstand the ways of the Lord. Let's go back to the book of Genesis to show that Esau's loss of the birthright happened long before Jacob and Rebekah's deception of Isaac. Esau and Jacob were twins born to Isaac and Rebekah. Esau was the older of the two, and according to the custom of the time, the firstborn son was entitled to certain privileges, including a double portion of the family's inheritance and the leadership role within the family. One day, when Esau returned from the field after hunting, he was extremely hungry and exhausted. He came across Jacob, who was cooking a stew. Esau, in his state of hunger, wanted the stew and asked Jacob for some. Jacob saw an opportunity in Esau's desperation and made a proposal. Jacob said to Esau, "Sell me your birthright as of this day." Esau, perhaps not fully comprehending the long-term consequences of his decision in his weakened state, replied, "I am about to die. Of what use is a birthright to me?" In exchange for the stew, Esau sold his birthright to Jacob. To formalize the deal, Esau swore an oath and exchanged his birthright for a bowl of stew. With this transaction, Jacob obtained the rights and privileges associated with the firstborn son, including the family's inheritance and leadership position within the family. Now one can question Jacob's underhanded tactics, but it was Esau's impulsive decision to trade his birthright for a meal of stew that cost him his birthright. His action is a reflection of his short-sightedness and complete disregard for the spiritual and long-term significance of the birthright. The Bible nowhere defends Jacob's actions. Instead, both the book of Genesis and the book of Hebrews emphasize Esau's sin. Genesis states that Esau despised his birthright. Hebrews calls this decision immoral and godless. Esau was willing to trade God's promised blessing for something as cheap and transitory as a bowl of soup. Esau surely wasn't hungry enough to die, as he claimed. Instead, he exaggerated a temporal hunger in order to justify trading away an eternal impact on the world through the Abrahamic covenant. Furthermore, Esau broke his own oath, and he blamed this whole event on Jacob rather than taking any responsibility for throwing away God's plan for a bowl of soup. It is also important to note that from the beginning, God predicted that he wanted Jacob to get the blessing, not Esau. Even when the boys were in their mother's womb, God predicted that the older would serve the younger. "Two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger." Genesis 25, verse 23. Therefore, Isaac's desire to bless Esau was wrong. He played favorites with Esau over Jacob because of the cultural value of primogeniture, whereby the firstborn gets the birthright. But God often has other plans. God's decision to bless Jacob really speaks to his grace. Namely, God can choose to bless the least deserving if he chooses to. In this case, Jacob was sinful and deceitful, but God chose to bless him anyhow. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave. Let me know what you think of the actions of everyone involved in this story. Isaac, Rebekah, Esau, and of course, Jacob. God bless you.